Yo, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing? Make sure we got the right code here. That looks right. OOWO. Just give it a few seconds here, let a few people join, and then we'll just get after it. What's up, JR? Hope everyone's having a good Friday. Long weekend here in Canada, US as well, Labor Day. My Minecrafter 97, you're welcome, bro. I won't keep you up too late. All right. Well, let's just hop right into it. This will, as usual, guys. This always is on YouTube after the fact. So if you want to watch it, if you miss it, if you can't stay, everything stays on YouTube. So just a little disclaimer, as usual. Obviously, nothing I talk about here constitutes financial advice. You got to do your own research, be smart. But let's get right into it. So I mean, we're back with another episode of Metals with Mayne. This is episode 4, I believe. And feeling pretty good about the analysis. I mean, I think what I've been doing in the last few episodes is showing you guys the importance of understanding where the dollar index is going, because it is very tightly correlated to other assets, especially when you're trading assets based against the dollar, like gold, like silver, like we cover here, but also things like Bitcoin, also the stock market. The dollar index does have an effect on these things. There is a correlation. It's something you should learn. So obviously we put a lot of emphasis on where the dollar is going, because then that kind of gives us some tips, some clues as to where we might be going in those other assets. So purpose of this episode is going to remain the same. We're going to cover the dollar, where I think it's going, kind of what happened last week. And then we'll also talk about what we're looking for next week on gold and silver, some potential setups I'm eyeing. And then we'll go from there. The focus of this stream is called Metals with Mayne. I was supposed to play some Metallica to get this going, but it is what it is. So we'll focus on those metals. And then on Sunday, I'm actually going to be doing a stream where I'll cover Ethereum. So I'm going to start introducing some more streams as time goes on, covering some other assets. I know a lot of you guys follow me from crypto. So I do want to put crypto content out there, but I am really enjoying these metal streams, and this is also these are also two assets I trade all the time, and I highly suggest you guys expand your horizons a little bit and try and trade some other assets. All the skills that you've learned, trading Bitcoin, trading altcoins are transferable to trading this. It's just a chart. It works the exact same. And my favorite part about trading something like gold, right? I can trade this all week, right? Let's say I'm longing all week, longing, and then I want to take a week off, and I take this week off, and price drops hard. My account is the exact same because I'm always based in USD or CAD, wherever you are, your local currency. So I don't really care what the market does when I'm not trading it. Unlike crypto, one of the curses of Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, I know you can hedge 1x short or 1x long and shit. Doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, I'm in USD at the end of every trading day. Whereas if you're owning Bitcoin, you're susceptible to what we had yesterday where the market drops 15%. And if you weren't 1x hedged, your account value takes a hit. So definitely something to consider, expanding your guys' horizons. Much raised. What up, man? Thanks for coming by, J-Man. Yeah, I agree. I much prefer trading traditionals. I think the PA is a lot cleaner. Anyways, let's get into it. So I lost all my levels. I'm pissed, but it is what it is. So dollar index, I've redrawn the 2 key levels that we were watching here. So off of the 3-day chart, we had this 90. Where is this level from? Daily chart, we have this 95.88 level. So the real levels I'm watching, I was saying gold looked weak. So last week when we did our last video, we were right here. Okay, so if we zoom in just a little bit more, right? I said we were looking weak, and basically what I was looking for was potential weakness on the dollar that would tie into longs on gold and silver. Okay, and we did have that. So we had that dollar weakness, right? And we had that push up on gold and silver. And unfortunately, none of my setups triggered. Well, one of my setups triggered, but it was stopped out. I'll cover that in a sec here, but I'm just going to show you the correlation here, right? So we had that weakness right here, right? There's your drop on the dollar, okay? And there's your move up on gold. So what I was watching for was weakness on the dollar to get long on gold. And what I had marked on gold was a key level. I believe it was right around here, somewhere in this consolidation. I'm annoyed. I always manage to friggin' lose all my levels on TradingView. Let's just say it was here. Yellow. What the fuck is going on? Okay. Let's just say it was here. And I basically was saying, okay, I want to see weakness on the dollar. And then I had two gold scenarios mapped out, right? I said, okay, if the dollar bounces early in the week, right, we might get a pullback down here for a long. But I said if it's weak right off the bat, right, down on the dollar, I want to buy a retest of this level, right? And I want it to target up here. That was the setup I was looking for. So we got the retest. I longed here. My stop went below the low that caused the move up. So I remember explaining this in detail last video, so I won't go too much into it. But basically the low here that caused the break above the level, right? Your stop goes down here. I'm gonna delete some of this shit for a sec here. Right, so stop goes down there. Entry on the retest here. There's the retest. Stop down here. Okay, target was here. Mine wasn't quite a 5R. I think my stop was a little looser. It was like a 3.5, 4R. But I got stopped out. So we had the weakness on gold, right? Gave us the setup trigger that we wanted, but you're not going to get every trade, right? So you're not going to get every trade. We wanted to see up here. I want to see this high get run. But then as you can see, obviously, gold recovered quite quickly. So what I started identifying early in the week last week was this 3 drives pattern play out on gold. So this 92.30 level, right, comes from over here. Okay, I think I had it as 92.29 last video. I've just rounded it. So once we got that bounce on the dollar strength, immediately gold sold off and silver sold off as well, right? Okay. And we saw some strength on the dollar. So my ideas weren't validated, so I'm sitting on my hands. So I am a swing trader, more so than I am a scalper. So this type of trade, right, would have, let's assume it went right. You know, this could have taken the entire week to play out. Strong magnet, what the hell does that do? So let's just take this. Oops. So let's assume that this continued to play out, right? And we got our target. This trade, I'm in all week, right? So if I miss my setup, I'm out. I'm not in a trade. So generally, the way that I trade, analyzing charts on the weekly, the 3-day, and the daily, execution is usually on the H4, sometimes is the H1. I oftentimes will get 1 to 2 setups a week. That's it. On this particular pair, you guys got to remember, I'm not just trading gold and silver, but my 1 to 2 setups I get, they're high probability. I mean, obviously I got stopped out here, but if I got it right, it's a 5R trade or a 4R trade. right? So you don't need many of those in a month to have a killer month, right? Like if you can average 5R a week, you're crushing it. You're crushing it, right? People, I think in crypto, they get sensationalized by these, gains that you can make yield farming and trading these, DeFi tokens or alt season and shit. And you're like, oh, 1,000%. Like 5R a week consistently net profit is really fucking good, right? Because if my R is constant, a constant percentage of my balance, so 2%, and I'm getting 5R a week, you can grow an account very quickly with those kind of consistent returns. So I might only get 1 to 2 setups a week on gold, 1 to 2 setups a week on silver, but then I also maybe have 1 to 2 setups on equities. I got 1 to 2 setups on Bitcoin. So I got a lot of trade opportunities when you add up all the markets I'm looking at. But this one didn't work out. And so what I started looking at in the dollar here was this 3 drives, right? So we had the weakness I kind of expected. And then we had a 3 drives pattern kind of happen. So the 3 drives pattern essentially is when you're coming and forming either a top or a bottom into key SR, is oftentimes you'll see price make 3 drives in the direction before forming a reversal. It's a common reversal pattern or top pattern. Where can I give you another example of this? And this happens on all time frames. And you can spot it. You'll get better at spotting it the more you look at it. So here's another example of the 3 drives kind of thing, right? This is the inverse, right? So you have your 1, 2, 3 drives, and then that's kind of your top, right? And then it's a reversal. So I kind of saw that forming here on the H12 on the dollar index. I was like, okay, this is kind of looking bottomy. We're into that key support level. We had 1, 2, 3 drives. And then we regained the key SR. So once we did that, my long ideas were invalidated. And my target was here. I said, okay, well, we're coming up into this order block, I think, is where we're going to test. You can see we came right up into that. We're rejecting. We put a pretty nasty wick through there. And we're closing below it right now. So the week closed below it. So really what I'm watching here are a couple of key levels. I'm just going to zoom out one more time frame here. So I'm watching this level here. Why are you yellow? When have I ever used yellow? So these are the kind of the key areas that I'm watching, okay? So if we're gonna get a big short on silver and gold, right? So I mean, I will be honest with you, this isn't looking that great. If I'm looking at gold here on the daily, right? Below this level, I don't like it for longs, okay? So above this level, you absolutely get bonkers long, okay? And if we get above this level, that's gonna be confluent with the dollar rolling back below here, okay? But if the dollar remains strong, right, and regains this level and ultimately regains this level, I'm targeting all the way up here, okay? If you look at the dollar just zoomed out, this thing is extremely oversold. We're coming in a high time frame support, and it could bounce way the fuck up here. Okay, throw our fib on. Where's that level line up with perfectly? The 70.5 fib. Right? So we could have a huge bounce on the dollar way up to here, and it could still put in a lower high, right? And then sell off. But if this is going to happen on the dollar, okay, gold and silver are both going to eat a dick. So you've got to be aware of that. So what I want to watch on the dollar next week is if this is the bounce and it's done. If it just rejects from here and rolls under this 92.30 level, we're back to looking for longs on gold and silver. So the long on gold is a reclaim of this area right here, this order block here. We get above here, you're longing the fuck out of this thing, targeting at least here, and then there, okay? Silver looks a little bit more bullish. This is kind of my level on silver here, okay? So silver, it's holding support right now. Still kind of in an uptrend. This is kind of forming a wedge, a triangle, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Ascending triangle, I guess. So silver, same idea. If dollar takes this route up to here, up to there, I'm playing silver like this, okay? And I'm looking to short an underside test of this line. So maybe we make one more lower high here and then break this trend line, short the fuck out of silver. You target down here, and then you target down here, okay? And if dollar plays this scenario out, break down, lose this early in the week, right? We lose the level, we start trending down. Like if we make another low here, the 3 drives thing is invalidated. 3 drives thing is validated if we break here. This is a valid 3 drives reversal, and I expect a big move to the upside. So silver, if dollar breaks down, silver, I'm looking to long. Okay, so depending on where it is next week. So let's say we come in next week. The dollar is weak. You could long something like this, right? Okay. Or if it does not give you that test, a flip of this level is a long. Flip of this level right in here is a long. Stop and go down here. Or in the low that caused us to break through the level, and then ultimately the breakout long is above here. Okay. Right? That would be my target on silver. If we're bullish, if we're going to continue going up. I mean, this is crazy steep already. Right? But we're basically, if you remember talking about that 30 level, right, it's the EQ of this entire range. You know, that's your one target, and then your next target is up into here. Right? So if I zoom in, right, above this swing high, right? So running the 30 level, right, would run this high here. And then the next high to run would be this one. That would be, these would be 2 areas that I'd be looking for to get run if silver's bullish and wants to continue to the upside, okay? Be running that level here, this high, and then that high. Okay, gold, I can't do the same thing because we're already through all time. But that's the plan, really simple, okay? So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. The bullish trigger on gold, right? Above this level, dollar weakness. The bearish trigger on gold is what? Right, the exact opposite. So if the dollar continues to be bullish, right? So if the dollar takes our 3 drives reversal back up into this OTE, we're looking to get short gold for a long time, way down into here at the very minimum, right? Because there's like some obvious inefficiency in this move. We filled some of it in with this wick, but there's still a gap here, right, of inefficient price action in here. So, right, dollar strength, any sort of pullback into this zone is a sell, right? You could zoom in. Take your fib. That looks like a pretty nice opportunity right in here. Right? So maybe we get a little move up early in the week on gold. That would be a sell, right? This in combination with dollar strength. So if the dollar is going to do something like this, that would be your primo sell, right? Because what it could do, what it could do, right, early in the week is this, right, come back, retest support, but then if it gets above here, right, this would be, right, into here, this move down here would be what would give you this move up here. This move up here would come from this coming down, retesting support. It's so ugly when I change time frames, right? That's how you would get into that kind of a setup there. it might not do that, right? Like if the dollar just starts to fucking moon right off the bat next week, right? You just look to sell a breakdown. Zoom out a little bit here. Delete some levels. So let's say here, the level I like. Okay, so let's say dollar just starts to moon next week. It doesn't give you the pullback here that I just showed you to get short, getting short up in the 1960 area. If the dollar just starts to straight moon, right, you're shorting a flip of this level here. Right, so this just rolls over, you short a pullback, your sell is right in there, your stop goes like up here or right above the zone, right, and you're targeting 1800, which was way down here, that level I showed you. All my PC parts have arrived, so I can finally build my PC and have a decent setup. You target way down here. All right, guys, does that make sense? So that's a long and short trigger on both gold and silver based on a plan laid out in the dollar index. Does that make sense? Cool. So it's really a game right here of patience. I want the dollar to lead the way because the correlation is extremely strong right now. Right? So if I if I do a triple chart here, let's do dollar, let's do gold, let's do silver. Let's do H12, H12, H12. If I could get this thing to be smaller. There we go. Right, so if we just look at where we are right now in PA, gold and silver are moving pretty much lockstep right now, and essentially the inverse of silver. So if I do, what if I can do that? So this is just the inverse chart on the dollar. Right, so there's August lined up, right? So when the dollar started getting weaker, right, we had that last push up on gold, right? Dollar's getting stronger, dump on gold, dollar getting weaker, up on gold, up on silver. So the correlation is pretty strong. But I mean, if I'm just looking, so I want to know where this is going. I know I sound like a broken record, but you want to get comfortable charting this and understanding where it's going to have an idea of what's going to happen with these two pairs, because the correlation is very strong. So if I look at this on the inverse chart, right, you tell me, does this not look a little toppy? Does this not kind of look like Bitcoin? Bitcoin was a little bit more like this, right? Bitcoin was a little bit more of a invert head shoulders, where this is a little bit more of a, they're a three-stop reversal, but both of these are topping patterns, right? So there's an argument to be made that the dollar could be bouncing. Now, I'm not uber bullish on the dollar, that the bottom is in and we're going back to 100. I'm just saying a bounce all the way up to here, right, would be would mean Bitcoin is filling in that CME gap, right? And gold and silver are falling further. But I'm of the mindset that I think the markets, gold, silver, Bitcoin, equities, are all extremely correlated right now, and I think that they don't quite dump before the election. I have my thesis that we might see a correction here, but I think we do see another leg up going into the election across the board. I know a lot of people are calling for top on equities, they're calling for top on Bitcoin, and I'll talk about Ethereum and some crypto stuff on Sunday. The same thing was happening right here, right? It's not as ugly. Right? So, I mean, what's the difference here and here? I see people going, oh, that's your top. It's like, well, are you sure? Was this our top, right? Or was this our top? What about this one? What about this one? Right? What about this? Well, the bottom wasn't it. So, I don't think, that this is the top. I would not be surprised to see just another leg up. And if we get one more leg up here, we're going to get another leg up on all of this shit, and Bitcoin included. Equities likes to top not like this. It likes to roll, right? So it starts to slowly roll, and then it sells off and accelerated, right? If you look at 2008, this could just be this, right? Another leg. Let's go way back. Let me go that far back. Yeah, so equities didn't just sell off extremely sharp, right? It kind of started decreasing, roll, and then boom, and then made another leg. So, and then it slowly cascaded down. So to me, I don't think this is the top yet. I do think we get one more leg on equities. I think price keeps pushing up into the election. So I do think that there's still a chance there's some juice here, but it doesn't mean that these can't drop first. And it's all going to be dependent on what goes on here, right? So again, if this is your kind of your triple stop reversal, and we're going to come up to here, right, which is your little OTE sell, right? This is going to mean down on these. We're looking for shorts next week. If this is what plays out, if this just rolls over, loses that 29 or 92.30 level, we're looking along, right? Based on what I showed you here, right? Along above that level, and then on silver, right? We have kind of along above this level here, go off the trend line. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for you guys. I've tried to be clear and concise, but yeah, if you have any questions about gold, about silver, just let me know, hit me up. I really appreciate you guys tuning into these. I'm having a lot of fun doing them, so I plan on keep doing them, and I'm also going to be mixing in that Ethereum stream. So if you guys are interested in that, tune in on Sunday. I'll be covering Ethereum, and I'll be covering both the USD and the BTC pair. And because of that, I'll be looking at BTC. I'll be looking at the dollar index, because those are all sharing numerators and denominators, so they're all relevant when you chart. All right, Azam Kazmi, can you do COT today now? So I don't have live commitment of traders data on gold and silver. So I only have I guess it would be last week's report. Let me see. So here, one sec. I'll pull this up. Give me a half second here. Thanks, J-Man. Okay, so what's going on with the screen here? Black screen. Come on. There we go. All right, so commitment to traders. Okay, so the Commitment of Traders report provides a breakdown each Tuesday's open interest for the markets in which 20 or more traders hold positions equal to or above the reporting levels established by the CFTC. Commitment of Traders charts are updated each Friday at 3 p.m. CST. The Commitment of Traders information is available both with disaggregated and financial traders reports. So you actually have to pay to get this shit live. I do not pay for the Commitment to Traders. It's not something I use a particular great amount, but you can go on this barcharts.com website and you can see the most previous Commitment to Traders, and you can see what this here. You can see a recent one. It's not, see, I don't want to sign up. Let's look at the monthly. Okay, so this is the monthly gold chart. This is an open, high, low, close. This is like a different type of candlestick. What's going on here? Why is it not showing up? Should be showing up at the bottom here. Okay, let's just do this. So let's just do this. Okay, so what you can see here at the bottom are the Commitment to Traders stats that he's talking about here. So what you can see are the positions of commercials, non-commercials, and small speculators. So the commercials are going to be the red line on this chart here, okay? And this is going to be their net long. Are they long or short, essentially, the data that's being collected here. Non-commercials would be large speculators, so managed money, that would be the green line, and then small speculators is going to be the blue line. So the idea here is that using this information, you can say, okay, well, when gold was trading at October 8th, 2018, near the low that was made, okay, we can look and say at that time, the commercials, for example, were short. The large speculators were long, and the blue line was also long. So it's going to show you what their net positions were at that given time, and you can essentially use this information as a piece of confluence to determine if we're forming a bottom or we're forming a top. It's like sentiment analysis. So if you say, okay, well, what you'll find oftentimes is that the commitment of traders, either the red, the green, the blue line, they'll often be one extreme before at a top or a bottom. So oftentimes near a top, or near a bottom, for example, let's say here, near a top, you can see that the commercials were extremely long, right? So what I'm reading here is just this, I can't move my mouse because it disappears. But what I'm reading is the information in the yellow box there. So you can basically see what everyone's net positions were that report into the Commitment Traders data at the time on the chart, so the actual price chart for gold. So if you're I don't use this particularly, but essentially to me this would be like sentiment analysis, right? So if you want to have an extra piece of sentiment analysis, what you can do is you can use something like the commitment of traders report, and you can say, okay, I can see what's going on, but kind of behind the scenes. What is the sentiment? Because it's showing the net long and short positions of different types of size of traders, which are the ones that I kind of highlighted on the bottom. So if you wanted to try to use this information in your trading, what you would want to do is study, at tops and bottoms in price. So at this moment in time, for example, or at this moment in time, for example, you want to determine whether or not the commercials are net long, they're net short, what are the small speculators doing, and you can essentially use that to potentially add confluence to your analysis. And you can get this on all sorts of pairs. You can look up Euro USD, you can get the commitment traders, you can do it on other commodities. It's kind of like using the long or short positions on like a crypto site. So not something I use particularly. So that probably explains why I have a hard time explaining exactly the value of it there, because to me, I'm purely a price action trader. I'm not looking really much at things like COT data, but it is useful. I do know people will use things like the commitment to traders report to kind of determine when there might be reversals happening in the market. It could be a sentiment indicator. So again, not something that that I personally use, but you could say, okay, well, speculators, for example, on silver, or I guess let's say on gold here, the speculators might have been heavily net short. That might be your clue that it is also time that we're topping out, right? So it's not something that I use in particular, but the easiest way to kind of describe it is sentiment analysis. What is the position of these different people, and you might be able to use that as additional confluence for your trading. Not something I personally use. It'd be like going on Twitter and running a poll, except for it'd be legit data. Because running on a poll on Twitter, people can BS. Most people aren't trading. This is verifiable information, so definitely an advantage when you're trading an asset like gold, where you can have information like this available to you. But again, not something I particularly use. All right, guys, any other questions? Any questions about what I covered in terms of potential setups for next week? All right, if there's no other questions, I will sign off here. So anyone who's interested in seeing me cover Ethereum, I will be doing that on Sunday around 5 p.m. PST. I'll post a reminder tomorrow and the link in advance so you can join. This will stay up on YouTube as usual. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk to you on Sunday.